Okay, so you know how we all have those big, crazy dreams? The ones we keep tucked away?
Yeah, I think we all have a few of those.
Well, imagine a staircase to nowhere that somehow becomes this magnet for those dreams.
A staircase to nowhere. Okay, that's a new one.
Right. Today we're diving into Simon Squibb's book, What's Your Dream? And this staircase story is just the beginning. Trust me.
All right, you've got my attention.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this staircase?
So Simon, he buys this freestanding staircase at an auction.
Not exactly your typical investment, is it?
No, not at all. Even he admits it seemed a little impulsive at the time. But he had this vision, you see. He puts a doorbell on the staircase.
A doorbell on a staircase.
Yep. And he invites people to ring it. And when they
Right.
do, they have to declare their dream out loud.
Whoa, I love that imagery. A staircase to nowhere, becoming a platform for people to voice their aspirations.
And it wasn't just symbolic. People drove from all over just to ring that doorbell and shout their dreams to the world.
Wow, that's powerful.
Simon connects this to the importance of taking that first step, no matter how small or unconventional it might seem.
I can see how that would be empowering, just, breaking through that hesitation and declaring your intentions.
Exactly. And the book doesn't stop there. It's packed with stories and practical advice on how to turn those dreams into reality. And he tackles some pretty common myths along the way, too.
Ooh, myth busting. Always fun. What are some of the myths he tackles?
Well, one that really hit home for me was the myth of hard work being the only key to success.
Hard work being overrated. I'm intrigued.
He actually argues that working smart, focusing on your passions, and learning to delegate effectively, that's where it's at.
Okay, so it's not just about grinding away. There's more to it than that.
He uses examples from his own business, Fluid, where stepping back actually led to more success.
So sometimes letting go can actually be more productive. Interesting.
He talks about how he was initially a micromanager, but learning to trust his team and delegate tasks, that's what allowed them to truly flourish.
It makes you think, how many of us are stuck in that hard work trap? Just grinding away without necessarily working the most effective way.
Definitely something to think about. And speaking of challenging assumptions, he also goes after the fear of failure.
Ah, yes. Failure. The dreaded F word. How does he reframe that?
He encourages us to embrace failure as a learning experience. He shares stories of entrepreneurs who bounce back from major setbacks. To him, failure is often a stepping stone to something greater.
That's so important. It's easy to get caught up in that fear, but being able to learn from setbacks is crucial.
One example that really stuck with me was about this celebrity chef who went through this very public, very expensive business failure.
Oof, yeah, I can imagine that would be tough.
It would have been easy to just throw in the towel, but he analyzed what went wrong, made adjustments, and ultimately came back stronger.
Resilience, right.
Yeah.
Setbacks are inevitable, but it's how we respond to them that matters.
Exactly. And this leads into another big theme he explores, the power of purpose. He says it's the fuel for your dream.
Having a clear why, I can definitely see that. It gives you direction, motivation, the resilience to overcome obstacles. How does he illustrate this point?
He uses his own company, Fluid, as an example. They were facing high staff turnover, and it turned out their initial purpose just wasn't resonating with employees.
What was their initial purpose?
It was all about helping brands make money. And, well, that just wasn't cutting it.
Yeah, I can see how that wouldn't necessarily inspire people. What did they do to shift things?
They redefined their purpose, shifted it to focus on celebrating creativity and supporting designers, making sure designers were compensated fairly and had the resources they needed to do great work.
Wow, that's a fundamental shift. And I bet that resonated with the employees a lot more.
Oh, absolutely. Staff turnover issues, gone.
So it wasn't just some feel-good change. It actually had a real impact on their business.
And there's this great story about Simon cleaning toilets to help secure a dream client.
Cleaning toilets, now that's dedication. How does that tie into purpose?
He uses it to illustrate how, when you have a strong purpose, even the most mundane tasks become meaningful.
Makes sense. You're not just seeing the task itself, but its part in the bigger picture.
He understood the bigger picture was securing this client. That was a critical step towards his dream. So even cleaning toilets, it became a step in the right direction.
It reminds us that success often involves doing things we wouldn't normally choose to do.
He has this great line, wanting something is passive, but needing it, that's powerful.
It's like a shift in mindset, isn't it? From I'd like to achieve this to I must achieve this.
Exactly. And he brings up the story of Joy Mangano, the inventor of the Miracle Mop. She was facing some serious financial struggles. And that sense of necessity, it fueled her.
So sometimes those tough circumstances can actually be a catalyst for achieving a dream. That sense of urgency can push you to find creative solutions.
And this is really just the beginning. Simon outlines 7 concrete steps to help you achieve your dream. And they're all about taking action, ditching those excuses. Plus, he dives into the practical side of building a business to support your dream, even if it's a nonprofit.
Okay, now I'm even more intrigued. What are some of these steps, and how does he approach that business side of things?
We'll dive into all of that right after this. Stay tuned. All right, so those 7 steps you mentioned earlier, what's the first one?
Well, the first step is all about ditching the excuses.
Oh, I think we all know those excuses pretty well. I don't have time, it's too risky, I'm not good enough.
Exactly. Simon calls them out for what they are. Roadblocks, ones we create for ourselves.
It's so easy to let those excuses hold us back, though. How does he suggest we overcome them?
He encourages us to reframe our thinking. So instead of saying, I don't have time, you ask yourself, how can I make time for this?
It's about taking ownership, making conscious choices.
Exactly. Subtle shift in language, but it can make a huge difference.
And then step 2, that's all about finding your first customer.
Even if your dream isn't, a traditional business.
Yep, even then.
What if my dream is to write a novel or climb Mount Everest? Who's the customer there?
Well, in those cases, your customer could be a literary agent who believes in your story, or a climbing partner who helps you prepare. It's about finding someone who validates your dream, someone who helps you take that first concrete step.
I like that. Turning a dream into something tangible. What about the other steps?
Step 3, that focuses on understanding your minimum viable offer.
Minimum viable offer. That sounds like a business term.
It is, but essentially it means figuring out the simplest, most essential version of your dream that you can start with.
So not trying to build the entire dream all at once, starting smaller.
Exactly. And then step 4, that's where things get serious. Go all in.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. Building toward greater commitment.
Absolutely. It's about fully committing to your dream, even if it means taking risks, stepping outside your comfort zone.
That can be scary, but also exciting, right? Taking that leap of faith.
Simon talks about how even with his successful ventures, there were moments where he had to make those leaps of faith. Trust his gut.
Reminds me of that quote, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek."
And he doesn't sugarcoat the challenges. He talks about how Devishard, one of his ventures, actually lost a lot of money.
Ouch.
But he still considered it a valuable experience because of the lessons he learned.
It's not about avoiding failure altogether, right? It's about learning from those mistakes.
Steps 5, 6, and 7. Those focus on building momentum, scaling your dream, reaching your full potential.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And he emphasizes the importance of building a business to support your dream, even if your dream isn't explicitly about making money.
Now that's interesting. Why is the business aspect so important, even for nonprofits?
He argues that even dreams with a social mission, they need a solid foundation to thrive. It's about creating a sustainable structure, something that can support your dream financially and logistically.
Makes sense. It's not just about passion. There's a practical side, too. How does he recommend approaching this?
He talks about understanding your business model, even if it's a simple one. Knowing where your revenue is going to come from, who your target audience is, how you deliver value.
Even for a creative project like writing a book, there's a business side to it.
Absolutely. And he's a big advocate for starting small, bootstrapping.
Using your own resources to get things off the ground.
He talks about how Fluid, they started with almost no funding. But by focusing on delivering exceptional work to their ideal clients, they were able to grow organically.
The power of word of mouth.
He also talks about the importance of diversifying your business. Fluid had a lot of success with coaster ads. This innovative idea to create coasters with ads on them and distribute them to bars and restaurants in Hong Kong.
Coaster ads, that's clever. Never heard of that before.
But they also had some less successful experiments, like when they tried to open a cafe. It ended up being more of a distraction.
So diversification is key, but it has to be strategic.
And then there's the power of community. He really believes in building a community around your brand.
I get that. It fosters engagement, loyalty. When people feel connected, they become more than just customers.
He uses HelpBnk's as an example. It's this platform that connects people who need help with those who can offer it. And their community, it's a huge part of their success.
Creating a space where people can connect, support each other.
But he also emphasizes that it's about respecting and nurturing communities. It's not about exploiting them for profit.
Right, it has to be genuine.
And, of course, he talks about persistence. Draws parallels to Michelangelo and the Statue of David. Achieving anything worthwhile, it takes time, dedication.
And a willingness to overcome obstacles.
He shares stories about how Fluid secured some of their dream clients. They persistently reached out, built relationships, even when they were initially ignored.
Success often takes patience, playing the long game,
But then he also talks about knowing when to pivot, to adapt.
being flexible, responding to circumstances.
He talks about how Fluid navigated the SARS pandemic. They adapted their services.
Smart move.
And then he contrasts that with Blockbuster. Their downfall, he attributes it to their inability to adapt. They just stuck to their old ways.
A cautionary tale for sure.
And finally, he even talks about exiting your business, knowing when and how to step back.
That's an interesting topic, letting go of something you've poured your heart and soul into.
He shares his own experience of stepping back from Fluid, talks about choosing the right time and the right successor. He even discusses different exit strategies, like selling to a competitor, finding a strategic buyer, or even doing a management buyout.
So there are options. It's not just about walking away.
And even after exiting a business, he encourages readers to keep the dream alive, explore new ventures, pursue their passions, embrace lifelong learning.
The journey doesn't end with one achievement.
He encourages readers to never stop learning, to never stop dreaming.
And to never stop pushing themselves.
And throughout the book, he weaves in these really powerful anecdotes, not just about famous entrepreneurs, but also everyday people, people who achieved extraordinary things.
Makes it feel more relatable, like anyone can achieve their dreams.
And one of the things I appreciate most about Simon's writing is his passion. He's not just sharing his own success story. He's giving you a roadmap, a toolkit for anyone who dares to dream big.
It's clear he's driven by a desire to help others succeed, to unlock their potential.
And that's what makes this book so powerful. It's not just about achieving financial success. It's about living a more fulfilling life, a more purpose-driven life.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, right?
Wait.
Helping you dive deeper into these ideas, empower you to take action.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for our listeners? What's the key takeaway from this deep dive into what's your dream?
Yeah. I think for me, it's that achieving your dream, it's not just about mindset.
Right.
It's a combination of things. Mindset, strategy, action. It's ditching those excuses, embracing those failures, finding a purpose that fuels you, and remembering that success isn't a straight line. There are going to be setbacks, detours, but it's that ability to adapt and learn and persist.
One thing that really struck me was how he emphasized understanding your why,
Yeah.
even if your dream isn't about making money.
That was interesting, wasn't it? It's about finding that deeper purpose.
He talked about how Fluid, they almost failed because their initial purpose, it wasn't strong enough.
It wasn't until they shifted their focus.
Celebrating creativity, supporting designers.
It makes you wonder how many of us are chasing goals that don't really resonate with our values.
And that's maybe why we struggle,
When things get tough,
if your why isn't strong enough.
it's like trying to climb a mountain without a clear path, you know? Or a compelling reason to reach the summit.
And that's where Simon's 7 steps come in, a practical framework,
Ditching excuses, finding that first customer,
building momentum.
reaching your full potential. He even gets into the nitty-gritty of building a business to support your dream.
I loved that Kosarad's story. So simple, yet so brilliant.
It shows how creative thinking, a willingness to experiment, it can lead to some unexpected opportunities.
You don't always need a complex plan,
Sometimes the simplest ideas, they're the most effective.
especially when paired with passion and persistence. And, even though the book focuses on entrepreneurship, I think the takeaways apply to anyone chasing a dream.
Absolutely.
Persistence, embracing failure, finding your purpose, building community. These principles, they're universal.
Whether your dream is to start a business, write a novel, travel the world, I think Simon's insights can provide some valuable guidance.
It's a call to action, a reminder that we all have dreams.
And we have the power to make them a reality.
He encourages us to never stop learning, to never stop growing, and to never stop chasing those dreams that light us up.
And remember, the journey, it's just as important as the destination. It's in those challenges, the lessons we learn, the connections we make.
That's where we truly grow. So what resonated most with you from our deep dive into Simon Squibb's What's Your Dream? What dreams are you ready to pursue? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend about the deep dive. We're here to help you explore the depths of knowledge and unlock your full potential.